2021. Your sovereignty, or your safety. What does the statue of safety look like? Is she wearing a covering over her nose and mouth and holding up her social credit vaccination passport? Is she standing at least 6 in front, 6 behind, and 6 on either side from all the other statues? Does her inscription read, "Send the meek and the poor to green zone isolation camps and keep them away from me"? She is a testament to your fear and servitude. Can you cool your zeal for coercing humanity out of their corporeal sovereignty just long enough to take an honest look at the picture of the world that you are creating? Can you imagine, just for a second, why the rest of us would be, and are actually, more scared of your dangerously coercive bullying and illegitimate domineering assembly line agenda for the entire human race than we are of an irrefutably much less threatening virus? Take a deep breath of fresh air instead of inhaling your exhale, if your masters will still allow you to do so. Do you remember what it's like to feel safe? How long have you felt this frightened? I'd bet you'd give anything for the world to go back to what it was before COVID-19 became a thing, so that you could return to that feeling of safety and security. I'd bet you'd even sell out the whole human race if that's what they said it would take. Maybe even be first in line. Maybe even be the first to turn around and seek out those who refuse to get in line, because they said it only works if everybody gets in line, so now anyone who is not like you is a threat to your safety and security. Like your life depends upon it. I'd bet you'd even be willing to have all those enemies of yours kept in isolation camps of their own, so at least the threat of their existence could be contained, because eventually, they'll all die off in captivity anyway. As long as the government is in control of that part, what's the harm? It's what you need for your safety and security. You might even tell yourself, it's good for everybody, and who cares if all the COVIDiots die off in government prison camps? It's their own fault, they should have gotten in line with the rest of us when they had a chance. What does safety mean to you? Because, my friend, I would argue that the word you are using as the only justification that you need in order to coerce the world into conformity is not the right word for the world you are creating. Can you calm the frenzy of fear in which you are spinning for just a second, and pretend that all of those people, flesh and blood human beings, whom you automatically shame and dismiss as a collective because they don't share your viral fear or your lack of faith in the universe, might actually have a well-informed and legitimate position which, in point of fact, is such that it protects the world from the dangers of a coerced global conformity agenda? Why are you so angry at me for not getting in line with you? Do you remember what it's like to believe that a person has the right to decide what happens with their own body? Was the whole, "keep your laws off my body, and a woman has the right to choose" thing just an excuse so that they could use the aborted fetuses to biogenetically engineer the serum and prime humanity with genomics before releasing their little warfare bug? Now that you've got the injections ready, a woman no longer has the right to choose what happens to her body. Is this the crown to which you would have every knee bow, for the sake of your safety? This corona? Is this your king? And every knee that has not bowed alongside you is your enemy. And you will seek them out unto the last one on earth, and you would have them killed for your safety. And your children will ask you, why do they live in a prison? And you will say with a smile that it is for your safety. And your child will know there is something rotten here. And your safe world will end in that generation because you cannot enslave the human spirit. And the children will wish to be free. And you will become their enemy. Why? The crown to which you have sold your allegiance, the crown of safety, is a false king because it can only rule by fear, and so it is the enemy of the true king, which is sovereignty and which always rules by the law of responsibility, as the natural order of the universe. And so, the illegitimacy of the king that you now serve will always be exposed by the divine light of sovereignty, just as the darkness must always recede from the burning flame of a lit candle in its presence. Your children will not understand how you could be so scared that you sold out the entire planet to a handful of slave masters, just to be safe. And it is because, just as you would give anything to be safe right now, they will give everything to be free in that generation. I'm sure, if you're really scared of this Corona King and you've sworn your allegiance to stabbing every last human being on the planet because of the safety that it promises you, then you've already dismissed my work here as being propagandist and subversive, and so have abandoned this writing in condescending disgust, or didn't even bother wasting your time with the inquiries presented here in the first place. You'd be too good for that, right? You'd rather spend your time reading things that validate your fear of King Corona, and the safety of forcing everyone to get in line. But, I'm not attacking you. It's something I used to find myself saying a lot when I was in a gaslighting, emotionally abusive relationship. If you've never experienced the coercion of a narcissistic agenda to enforce an alternate reality, it is what they call cognitive dissonance inducing in nature, and can be so diluted that you may even begin to question your own sanity. Isn't it kind of a curious coincidence? You are the playground bully in this scenario, let's get that straight. At least own your role so you can wear your brown shirts with pride for all that you did in the name of safety. Otherwise, what you've done, and why it relates to psychological abuse, is created something they call a victim control scenario. This happens with narcissistic emotional abuse because the personality dysfunction of this type of individual prevents them from admitting they're at fault, or that they should take responsibility. As a collective, they are notorious for patterns of blame shifting, gaslighting, scapegoating, and doing whatever it takes to force their alternate reality, where it's always the other person's fault. It makes them feel safe, and anyone who threatens it is their enemy, and they will suffer. Can you start to see a little bit of similarity here, or is it just me? You're backing everyone up in the corner and you want blood. I'm your enemy. You're scared of me. I'm the bad guy because I won't let you jab me. What the actual fuck? You are in a vicious frenzy to stab everyone on Earth, and you're scared of me. What? Is it because I am running from you? Why are you chasing me? Am I a threat to you because I won't let you stab me? Are you telling me that your vaccine doesn't make you immune unless you stab everyone on the planet? Is that why I'm your enemy? Have you taken a deep breath of fresh air lately, or are you still breathing your exhale because no one gave you the permission to do otherwise? The only thing that I really desire is to have an open and honest discourse. One that allows questions on both sides. One that is free of coercion, suppression, and dismissal based on the flimsy argument that your jab doesn't work unless you jab me. It's called critical thinking, and it's something that people used to do when they were still free to do so. Think about it. What if you're wrong? What if the people whom you disdain as being the problem are in fact the solution? Set pride aside. It's okay to admit you were duped. That is the very crime against humanity that the rest of us are trying to expose. Please, consider the possibility that you could actually be the victim of a mind control agenda being perpetrated across the globe, without respect to borders, operating above the level of governments, manipulating our economies, and being controlled by a handful of legacy billionaires. You're mad at me because I'm not buying the safety they say they'll give me from King Corona, and so I won't let you stab me, and I'm running to the far corners of the earth, and so you must chase me because your life depends upon it. Do you remember what it was like before you were so scared that you couldn't feel safe again until you stabbed everyone on the planet? Have you taken a deep breath of fresh air yet? You've gone far enough. Stop playing the victim and pointing your finger at me when we are all being victimized by the master you have chosen. You want blood. You won't stop until you've stabbed every last person on Earth. You're upset because people are resisting your self-righteous agenda and trying to run away from your shiny needles. You've made the whole planet responsible for your personal safety and sold the heredity of your future generations forever to the manufacturers who now own the patent on your genome. You have chosen to serve your master in a war against humanity, and you will not be allowed to perpetrate your gaslighting alternate reality on the rest of us any longer. We shall not be the scapegoat that feeds your bloodlust. No more pretending you have some moral high ground. No more pretending you have a mandate for the sake of your safety. No more of your covert, polite attacks on my corporeal sovereignty. You have made the attack and I will no longer allow you to pretend otherwise. Come on out in the spotlight, where you can be seen. Bring your needles and your serum if you must, but we're not gonna take it. If you want blood, you got it. 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 You got it.